Okay, welcome everyone. My name's Eloisa Ramos, and I'm here with my friend Larry. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Eloisa. Good morning.
Good morning. So, we are continuing with the study of the text of A Course in Miracles. We're in chapter 21, Reason and Perception, and it's section 5, the function of reason. Okay, paragraph 1. Perception selects and makes the world you see. It literally picks it out as the mind directs. The loss of size and shape and brightness would hold, perhaps, if other things were equal. They are not equal. For what you look for, you are far more likely to discover than what you would prefer to overlook. The still small voice for God is not drowned out by all the ego's raucous screams and senseless ravings to those who want to hear it. Perception is a choice and not a fact. But on this choice depends far more than you realize as yet. For on the voice you choose to hear and on the sights you choose to see depends entirely your whole belief in what you are. Perception is a witness, but to this, and never to reality. Yet it can show you the conditions in which awareness of reality is possible, or those where it could never be. Okay, all right. So the the course refers to the real world, okay? Um and so this paragraph is referring to the last sentence there, um, 11, yet it can show you the conditions in which awareness of reality is possible. Okay. And that's true perception, or those where it could never be. And that would be false perception. Okay. So perception is either true or it's false, depending on whether we are being guided by the thoughts of God, which is the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And those thoughts are true, okay? Or whether we're guided by the thoughts of the ego thought system, okay? And those thoughts are false. And and so those are beliefs that that we made up, and and they are basically governed by fear. The thoughts of God are governed by love. And perception is projection, and it makes the world we see. So that's line 1. Okay, perception selects. So perception is like a filter. The body's senses are not actually um, we think that the body receives information from the environment, okay? Which would mean that there was actually something out there that was an environment. Okay. The course refers to that as level confusion. Okay, because we're making the environment what we see as separate from us as causal, okay, rather than our mind. That's why it refers to it as a reversal of cause and effect. It's level confusion. So the course is very clear that the mind is the only causal level. Okay. So our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs make perception through our projection, and it's what it, and the result of that is the world we see. So the world is a result of our thinking, of our thoughts. And they're either going to be the thoughts of God, which are true, or they're going to be thoughts of the ego, which are false. So we're either going to be perceiving a world that is a reflection of reality, that's love, or a world that's a reflection of separation, the belief in separation, that is fearful. Okay, so that's how perception works. Perception selects what we want to see, and it makes that world for us to see it. Okay, so it literally picks it out as the mind directs. So we decide what we want to see. Okay, um, because it's a subjective projection. That's why we have a hard time agreeing, um, on anything. If there's a car accident, the police have to interview different people from different angles to try to get a picture of what actually took place because everybody saw it differently. Okay. All right. So, line 5, for what you look for, you are far more likely to discover than what you would prefer to overlook. And so we use perception to hide things from ourselves and from others, basically to deceive ourselves. Uh, but the voice for God, which is our communication link to God, to the thoughts of God, which are truth, is still in our mind, okay, and is not completely drowned out by the ego screams, okay, to those who want to hear it. So it's that little willingness for us to want to hear the truth. And that often means that we have to be willing to be wrong about what we believe. About what we believe and think is true because that's how we correct our thinking. And that's how the perception of the world is then corrected and then we get closer to seeing reality as loving rather than fearful. Okay, and that process is really the healing of the mind because the mind that is healed is free of fear. And there's a whole chapter on healing as a release from fear. Okay. All right. Anything, Larry?
Um, it seems like uh, it's a good paragraph, and it's good to know that it's we our reality becomes what we think and believe and see, and everything else we're not paying attention. It's there, but we're not paying attention to it. And what I was just thinking is that. There's so much that we're seeing and there's so much that we're not seeing that it isn't really a conscious decision. Is it God's mind or is it the ego's mind? It's sort of like it's just I'm just existing and this is happening and this is good or this the only way I can tell is if I'm not feeling peaceful or loving, then it must be something other than a God mind. um, but because it's so automatic and there's so much good that sometimes I don't pay attention to it. And I think you just have to pay attention to it, because
Well,
life just happens in the body. It just happens automatically. And I
well,
have,
okay, yeah. So here's the thing there. Remember that there was a section, I don't know if it was, I think it was a previous chapter where the title was The Adjustment to Sin. Okay. So what happens is that we we become conditioned through repetition to adjust to a world of sin, guilt, and fear. And we just assume that that's what reality is. Okay? Because that's what we get used to. That's what we're conditioned to see and to believe. Because others tell us, as we are growing up, we our beliefs are being formed, and once our beliefs are formed, that shapes how we see and interpret the world. Okay, so it does seem like it's automatic, but that's the whole. That's why this is called a mind training because that uh, that has a lot of momentum because we've been practicing it and we're used to it and we just sort of automatically do it. And so it does entail um, being vigilant with our thoughts. And so we're learning to do that more and more, but it's the willingness, it's that little willingness, um, right, of wanting to hear the truth. That's line 6. The small voice for God is not drowned out to those who want to hear it.
But if we're hearing, that's assuming that a lot of the stuff that we're doing is fearful. If we're experiencing love, blessings, gratitude, uh, all the good things, and don't have that fear, it's that I assume would be a God's mind, and that's automatic too. So we can eventually, through mind training, get to a place where the quiet voice happens to be the louder voice.
Well, yeah, so that's true perception. Okay, so that's
Yeah,
true perception, and that's called the happy dream.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
happy
now,
dreaming. Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
happy dream. Okay, so now we just have to be vigilant for when that switches.
yeah. Okay, yeah. And
Yeah,
it does switch, and it does switch. Yeah,
yes. So that's what you're noticing now when it switches so that you can go ahead and catch it and then bring yourself back to true perception.
that's for me. That's the important part is that when I notice it isn't a place of peacefulness or love or acceptance or a place of gratitude or joining, then I can say, the perception is changing, and it does change because in humans, it changes all the time because
Yes,
of
but
our culture.
yes, but that gives us feedback because that says, "Oh, okay, somewhere unconsciously I have chosen separation rather than the loving thoughts of God."
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that because the results tell us what has happened, even if we are unconsciously aware of when it happened,
Yeah.
we're aware of not feeling peaceful or joyful.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's very obvious. Yeah. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thanks, Eloisa.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and read number 2, Larry.
Number two, uh, reality needs no cooperation from you to be itself. True reality needs no cooperation from you to be itself, but your awareness of it needs help because it is your choice. Listen to what your ego says and see what it directs you and see what it directs you see. And it is sure that you will see yourself as tiny, vulnerable, and afraid. You will experience depression, a sense of worthlessness, and feelings of impermanence and unreality. You will believe that you are helpless prey to forces far beyond your own control and far beyond and far more powerful than you. And you will think the world you made directs your destiny, for this will be your faith. But never believe because it is your faith. Never believe because it is your faith. It makes reality.
Yeah. So, okay, so it, it's trying to clarify here the use of the word reality. Okay, because earlier you said true reality. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there is no false reality.
Well,
Okay.
I thought you just said the false reality was my perceptions.
Oh, okay. Perception is true or false. Okay. And perception shows us either the real world or an illusion. Okay. So illusion is not true, so it's not reality. So the only thing that is real is reality, is true. So because our mind is not the maker of reality, okay? Our mind shares in reality with the thoughts of God. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we are not the creators of God. We are not the creators of all that is real. God is the creator. So the meaningful, the real, the truth, that is the source of it is God. And we're part of that as part of the created. So, so when, so what we make with the ego thought system, okay, but never believe because it is your faith. So even if we believe and have faith in the ego thought system, we will make up an illusion, but that is not reality. It seems to be reality. It's the course calls it a private world. Okay. And once it's a private world, it can't be shared. So it's no longer reality because reality is shared. There's no separation. There's no perception of a personal point of view. Okay. When we perceive reality, because it's one son of God. So, so that's why when we are following the ego thought system, our personal world is going to be an experience, line 4, of depression, a sense of worthlessness, and feelings of impermanence and unreality, which is basically, uh, insanity. I mean,
And it happens when you believe that the what you call reality is just my perception and it's not the true reality.
yes,
Then all of a sudden it's not working. So you say, "Well, I did something wrong," or "I'm worthless," uh,
yes, because
or "I'm helpless," and everything's out of my control. And yeah, you that's a natural place to go when the ego mind takes you to places that it's not real.
yes, and the ego will say that my personal point of view is my truth. So the ego will say that there can be different types of truth, okay? Which which totally negates the idea of what truth is, which is absolute and abstract, and the same for everyone. Um, so that's what the course calls bringing the truth into the illusion. Um, uh, because what we've done is we have made truth subjective, and it's no longer truth because it's personal and a point of view. So it's no longer whole and complete. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3. There is another vision and another voice in which your freedom lies, awaiting but your choice. And if you place your faith in them, capital T, you will perceive another self in you. This other self sees miracles as natural. They are as simple and as natural to it as breathing to the body. They are the obvious response to calls for help, the only one it makes. Miracles seem unnatural to the ego because it does not understand how separate minds can influence each other. Nor could they do so, but minds cannot be separate. This other self is perfectly aware of this, and thus it recognizes that miracles do not affect another's mind, only its own. They always change your mind. There is no other. Okay? So, so mind is not individual. Mind is one mind. It's the Christ self, the Christ mind. And we all share that mind. Um, so when we stop identifying with the ego and the body, we get we get to experience one mindedness, one self, holy relationship. So so this this other voice is really the Holy Spirit. Okay, um, and we can choose to listen to that voice. Okay, uh, and that allows us to recognize that the Christ is within us, that there's another self in you, which is the Christ mind. Um, so that's the self that God creates as one, the Son of God, but it entails all of life. Okay, because the vision of it is not perceiving bodies. It's not perceiving separation. It's seeing sameness and oneness. And that's true perception. So this other self that is um, Holy Spirit vision sees miracles as natural. So when we are in our right mind, we are seeing with Christ's mind, and miracles are normal and everyday. Because let's see, because there's no separation in that vision, and and the miracle heals separation. So they are as simple and as natural to it as breathing to the body. Yeah. So, because remember, some of the lessons talk about miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. They're the same. So, and strength is basically the light within, which is truth, love, um, joy, peace, and healing is inner peace. So it's all, it's the source is always the source of healing is the miracle, and the miracle is of God, which is love, eternal love. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So minds cannot be separate. That's line 8. Um, there is just one mind, and we share that with God. You can think of it in terms of the will of God. There is but one will of God, and that's the power that we share that's creative. So, okay. Anything, Larry, to add?
No, that's good. It helps when I see everything as a miracle, even the simplest things, and and everything is a miracle. And if I see something other than a miracle, I might be, it's a sign for me to look out. Am I judging, or am I exerting an opinion, or am I prideful or something? And so it's a sign for me to be aware of, that I need to be aware of and pay attention to. And um, sometimes for me, that's the hard part, focusing on and being aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4. Go ahead,
Number
Larry.
number four. You do not realize the whole extent to which the idea of separation has interfered with reason. Reason lies in the other self you have cut off from your awareness, and nothing you have allowed to stay in your awareness is capable of reason. How can the segment of mind devoid of reason understand what reason is, or grasp the information it would give? All sorts of questions may arise in it, but if the basic question stems from reason, it will not ask it. Like all this stems from reason, the basic question is obvious, simple, and remains unmasked. But think not, reason could not answer it. But think not, reason could not answer it. I'm not sure what reason is, but I imagine it's has something to do with separation, but I'm not sure. This everything had to do with reason, and I'm not really sure what they're talking about reason.
Okay. Well, a reasonable person is a sane person, wouldn't you say? An unreasonable person is not in their right mind. So, so reason is our right mind. Okay. That's why it says here, you do not realize the whole extent to which the idea of separation has interfered with reason. So the belief in separation, uh, let's
So
see.
reason is the God mind of what God is or what we are. That's the whole shebang of who we are. Anything other than that is against reason. Is that uh, you know?
Yeah, it's
I,
contradictory. So the whole ego thought system is not reasonable because it's full of contradictions. And that means it's not really saying anything. It's meaningless because I'm saying opposite things. Okay. If I say opposite things, I'm not I'm not communicating anything. If I say, Larry, you're good, you're bad, what am I saying?
The truth, I am good, I am bad.
That is not the truth. That's a contradiction. That's not saying you're anything.
That means I believe
Those,
in my body, and my body is good and my body is bad. So I believe in separation of the
yeah.
body and the mind.
Well, what you believe in is a reversal of cause and effect because you're saying that your body is the mind.
The
Okay.
humanness part of me is the mind. The spiritness of
No,
me
no,
is
no, no. The mind is not human, Larry.
or the God mind, the ego mind. There's two minds: the ego mind and the God mind. Right?
Well, the
That's what Sharon
ego,
always
okay.
says.
Well, yeah, sort of, but remember that the mind itself, where did we just read it? I don't know if we want to use exactly those words, but right here, 8. But minds, the previous paragraph, but minds cannot be separate. Okay. So the ego thought system is a belief that is an error in our mind. Okay. It's a tiny little thing. Okay. That we have made into a big deal.
Yeah.
So, uh, and it's not reasonable. Okay. The ego thought system is capricious. You've heard that word, right? Capricious, arrogant, prideful, embarrassing, shameful, humiliating. Okay, that's duality. They're opposites, and it's all based on fear. It's based on the fear of love, which is insane because love would never hurt. So why would there be fear? You see the insanity?
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
Well,
And
you know,
that's why it's not reasonable. It's an insane mind cannot be reasonable. An insane belief system cannot be reasonable. The reason why we say that it's a separate mind is because that's what the ego believes. It believes that it has separated itself from the one mind, capital M, God, which we share. Okay. But you can't separate from mind. It's just a belief. That's why it's a delusion. It's a delusional system. Yeah.
it's yeah. That's true. This is eh, it's for me. It's really tricky. It's what you're saying is 100% true. If I was 100% awareness and focus of what I do and what I say and how I react, and you almost have to be like godly in order to be like that if you're in a human body or accept your.
But Larry, you keep saying you're in a human body. The mind is not in the human body.
Well, I'm existing with you in the human body on this podcast or whatever we call this. I mean, I'm here
Uh,
with you in a human body talking
okay.
about this with
Yes,
you.
yes, but the mind is communication. So the mind is using the body as a and it's an instrument of communication.
Yes,
Okay, so it's really like a radio. It's coming through the body.
correct.
Okay, it's not in the body. It's not stuck in the body.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
otherwise it would be separate because the body is separate.
correct.
Yeah, and you could not join with anyone because you would be individually separated from each other as a mind. And that's what this is trying to get at, that there is no separation at the level of the mind. That's where the joining and that's where the holy relationship is. It's at the level of the mind. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, uh,
Bye.
number 5, God's plan for your salvation could not have been established without your will and your consent. It must have been accepted by the Son of God, for what God wills for him, he must receive. For God wills not apart from him, nor does the will of God wait upon time to be accomplished. Therefore, what joined the will of God must be in you now, being eternal. Okay, so that's our Christ mind. That's what is joined with the will of God. And that's what's within us, not within our body, okay, but uh, that's what's within us in our mind as a present memory. Um, 5. You must have set aside in play a place in which the Holy Spirit can abide and where He is. Okay. He must have been there since the need for Him arose and was fulfilled in the same instant. Such would your reason tell you if you listened. Yet such is clearly not the ego's reasoning. Your reason's alien nature to the ego is proof you will not find the answer there. Yet, if it must be so, it must exist. And if it exists for you and has your freedom as the purpose given it, you must be free to find it. Okay. All right. So this is saying that um, that God cannot force anything on his creation because God is one with his creation. There's no separation. Okay. So there's no forcing, you know, your son to do what I say because God as mind creates at mind and there's no separation. So God's will and our will are not separate. God's plan for salvation could not have been established without your will and your consent. Okay? Because there's no real separation between God's will and our will. In truth, we cannot have life and be separate from life, the source of life. God is the source of life, and if we are alive, then we must be part of connected. We must not be separate from that source of life. If we were actually separate from that source of life, we would not have life. We could not be alive. Correct?
Well, yes. Uh,
Okay.
this is true, and this has to do with our. We are this spiritual being, but we have human experiences, and the
That
human
fine,
experiences is
fine.
the separation stuff. And
Okay,
so,
but Larry, the separation stuff does not negate, cannot change our spiritual oneness with God.
correct. I agree with that, and
Okay,
I
okay.
know that.
That's
But the humanness is the brokenness
it doesn't
of what
matter.
doesn't exist. That's
It
just
okay. It but that doesn't that but that has no effect on our oneness with God at the spiritual level.
correct. So we're
Oh,
always oneness with God, always connecting with other people, always doing what I
yes.
think I need to do.
That is
That
non-changing. That is our eternal, non-changing essential self.
yeah, and that has always been for me my truth and my way of living. And I'm a spiritual warrior, and I look to develop that, and I don't even need to develop it because it just is. But my humanness, I still, I still see
Okay,
my humanness
okay.
and
But your humanness is made of thoughts of separation.
of impermanence and limitations, and yeah, it's not as complete as the
Those
spiritual side.
those those thoughts are not eternal thoughts, so they are not thoughts of God,
No, they're thoughts of human, the thoughts of my humanness.
which is separation.
It's impermanence.
That's
it's not
okay.
true.
Okay. Impermanence is the belief in time as separate from eternity. That's why it's not true.
So then what do I have to do to accept that? I know that, but I'm still here and I'm still, you know,
You're not here. What's telling you that you're here?
I'm talking to you and I'm having a cup of coffee and I'm looking forward to having an egg when I'm done. And
How do you know? How do you know that you're having a cup of coffee right now?
I,
What are some of the
I'm touching it. I'm feeling it.
okay? And what are you feeling it with?
I'm feeling it with my hand, who's directing it by my God mind to enjoy myself while
No,
I'm here on
no,
earth.
no, no, no. Okay. So your hand is a body, right?
Right.
Okay. And you're saying that your body is the mind that then can sense that there's a cup there. That's another body.
That's a miracle too, by the way, that I can do that.
No, that's that's not a
Yeah, it is.
miracle.
It
That's not a
is. It's one
miracle.
of the,
What, Larry, what are some of the few lessons, the first few lessons that we have in the course? It talks about the cup. Nothing I see in this room, on this street, in this window, in this place means anything. Okay, this table. Okay, does that cup in your hand mean anything? No, it says this cup in my hand does not mean anything.
it
That
holds the
door,
coffee. It holds the coffee.
okay, okay, that's the meaning I have given it. Let's lesson two. I have given everything I see in this room, in this street, from this window, in this place, all the meaning that it has for me. Okay, so that's all past learning. So I learned that this is a cup. First of all, you learn the label, you learn the name, okay? And then you learn that, oh, it's for holding my coffee, okay? So that's all the meaning that we have given to that cup, okay?
No, there's
Line,
more. There's more. I love coffee. I'm enjoy it. I'm here to enjoy stuff. I'm here to be happy in the adventure that I've manifested in my life. That's an illusion. I mean,
okay,
it just goes
okay,
on and
all right.
on and on.
Okay, so Larry, that I that is having that experience is an ego individual self.
So then,
That
what's the alternative?
That is
Just
okay.
not to be bland and
Okay. Let's just take one thing at a time. That I that is enjoying the coffee is an individual self-image of my preferences of what I do every morning. It all I see is the past. So
it's
I
my
have made
perception that we
I,
talked about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have made a self that is a self image of all of my routines that I do in the past, my preferences, my likes, etc. Okay, that is the idea of an ego self. Okay, so this
No,
is
I
what
understand that, but then what's the alternative? What does one deal
okay,
with that?
Larry. Okay, so Larry, I believe that this is what I am. So now I believe that I am making my own self. I am creating my own self when I see myself as this image, which is a body that is here in time. Okay, that is the belief in separation, that I am self-created. And if you go to the first couple of
Wow.
chapters, yeah,
That
it's
that actually goes against my belief that I manifest everything in my life because what you're saying is that I'm manifesting false beliefs
yes,
because
of
of
course.
separation.
Of
And then
course.
and what's the alternative of not doing that? Just I mean, life
The
wouldn't it be pretty boring if Sonia did nothing but just sit around and say,
okay.
"Oh, life
So
is good. What is
okay.
good? I'm not doing anything."
Okay, so the alternative is if you go back to the first few lessons, okay,
Sorry for being so
it's
obnoxious,
okay.
I guess.
It's okay. So lesson four, these thoughts do not mean anything. They're like the things I see in this room. Okay. But now here's the problem is that what is meaningless is upsetting. I'm never upset for the reason I think. Okay. Okay. Lesson six, I'm upset because I see something that is not there.
Ah, the coffee is not here.
Exactly.
I'm just not seeing everything else that's there except for the coffee.
The I that I think is here, that is a self image of all of my past behaviors and routines and likes, that is not here. that
That's
that
hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is the quote unquote action hero in the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Line 7, I see only the past. So that's what perception sees when it's false. It sees only what we want to see. And I want to see that I am self created. So I make myself into an image and I have all of these past preferences and experiences. And I say, well, that's what I am. I am all of my past.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
All right. Okay.
yeah.
But now you're saying, okay, well, if I don't do that, then what? Okay. So lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. Okay. However, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. And that's why I'm upset. Okay. But God does not create a meaningless world. We make that through our ego thoughts.
But my
It
coffee, I didn't create that because it's meaningless, and it doesn't cause me disillusionment or depression or loneliness. It's sort of what brings
It
me a
no,
sense
it
of peace
no, no, no,
or
no, no,
feeling good.
because no, because when you can't have it, you are not
Yes,
happy.
that's correct. That's correct.
That
Yeah.
that's right. So it's duality.
Yeah, duality again. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, it's positive and negative. Okay. All right. So God does not create a meaningless world, Larry. So when we let go of what we made, which is seeing all of this past stuff as if that was what we were, then the real world is revealed to us. And it's completely meaningful because it's not what we made. It's what it reflects the truth of eternal love. So it's a present memory of what we are.
You know, uh, I guess I should just let go of this and continue on, this is important because what I see seems to be a God mind. When I look outside and I see nature, I see lemon trees, I see deer, I went into San Francisco with my son. I felt love and joy, which is godliness stuff. And yet I saw big buildings and I enjoyed the baseball game and I liked all that was happening around. I was not making judgments I was being loving and kind. And it seems like that was like I was perceiving a God mind kind of thing,
Well, you're perceiving you're
which should be good, not just like the coffee cup.
well, okay, so so true perception, okay, um becomes very close to knowledge, okay? But it's not revelation, it's not knowledge. So God takes the last step, but it's a happy dream because it's still a dream.
Couldn't my coffee be the happy dream?
Well,
No, I just, I'm
well,
not going to push it anymore. I know this is,
what you're saying, Larry, is that having everything that I like and I'm used to is what a happy dream is. Okay,
or what I bring into my life. I'm
that's
not just used to. It's just like I just want to drink coffee instead of drinking smoothies. I just want to see nature
okay.
instead of walking down the streets.
Okay, but you go there you go with the I again. The
I,
I,
I, I,
the I. I'm special. I need my coffee. I can't be happy without my coffee. Okay.
So it should be a Holy Spirit. What should I drink today, or what should I do to nourish my
No, no,
body
no, no,
today?
no, no. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your coffee. Okay. The problem is when you become invested in having it. That's when you are not able because you can't control that. Okay. What if
But
tomorrow
yeah,
you can't ultimately you don't we don't have the control of the quote unquote external world.
yeah,
Okay. If tomorrow there's an embargo and all of a sudden there's no more coffee coming
which has
into the
happened.
United States, okay? What are you going to do? Are you going to suffer? Are you
Yeah,
going to cry?
I don't know.
Well,
Or the thing I have to deal with that. I don't want fear is anticipating what's coming instead of
Well,
being in the present moment.
no, Larry. So that's the problem with the I. Okay. The problem with the I is that it's this little self up here that then gets depressed and upset because it can't have things the way it's used to. Your whole,
Yeah.
that's right here, line 4, paragraph 2. Okay. You will experience depression, a sense of worthlessness, and feelings of impermanence and unreality. That's what
Well, that's
happened.
that's 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 projecting into the future. But right now, I can say I'm really grateful to God and to all that is for the blessings in my life that happen to be the flowers in front of me and this cup of coffee. So if I'm expressing gratitude, that could be the God mind
But Larry, you're expressing gratitude for things.
things.
Okay. The what you would want to
Okay.
express gratitude would be for joy, for peace, because those are the gifts of God. God is not
But
giving
but
you a cup of coffee.
but it brings me peace. It brings me joy. It brings
No,
me
it
happiness that I can
doesn't.
enjoy. Yep, I
No, it
think it does.
doesn't. Okay, because when you say that a cup of coffee brings you peace and joy, you're saying that's a substitute for God. You're
I I
substituting the cup
actually
of coffee for God.
I actually have a cup of coffee. I call it my coffee meditation time with God. It's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, that's an association. Okay. The
I'm a
the
cup of
cup of, the cup of coffee is not creative. It's not causal. It does nothing. Okay.
truth.
You have conditioned to believe your mind
Yeah.
is giving it all this power that it does not have.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done with my argumentativeness. But this is part of my growth opportunities I don't quite understand, and that's why I ask the questions because I'm doing a lot of interpersonal looking at how I look at things and see things,
Mm-hmm.
and want to understand it even better. And there's blocks to this presence, and I'm trying to see the blocks. I can't remove the blocks if I don't know they're there, and
Yeah.
so that's the nature of my questions and stuff. So my apologies.
No, no, no.
I'm not
I
good.
don't have a problem, Larry. That's
Yeah.
fine. I'm okay with all of your questions and comments, so that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Thanks, Melissa.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, so let's see, number 6.
6. I think it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
You won 6.
Hmm.
God's plan is simple, never circular, and never self-defeating. He has no thought except self-expanding, and this your will must be included. Thus, there must be a part of you that knows his will and shares it. It is not meaningful to ask if what must be so, but it's meaningful to ask why you are unaware of what is so. For this must have an answer if the plan of God for your salvation is complete. And it must be complete because its source knows not of incompletion.
Hmm.
Well, this sounds like me, is that uh, I'm asking questions of what I'm not aware of. And I need to find those answers so that I can be complete in God's plan. And so this sounds like the dialogue that I'm having with you to try to understand something that's confusing in my mind. That's what I got out of it.
Yes, so yeah, so this is saying, look, God's plan for salvation, okay, God's, which is previous paragraph, God's plan for your salvation could not have been established without your will and your consent. So in other words, God doesn't save us as a separate self without our consent. Okay, just like death does not come without our consent. Okay, everything that we experience comes with our consent. There's no other way to experience anything in our life without our own will, projecting it and making it show up that way, right?
True.
Yeah, yeah. Things do not happen to us without our consent. That's the main point over here too, when it was talking about, how where was that? Let's see. If you listen to what the ego says, you're going to believe that you are basically a victim of everything outside of you. Um, Vulnerable and afraid, line 3. Listen to what the ego says and see what it directs you see, and it is sure you will see yourself as tiny, vulnerable, and afraid. You will experience depression, a sense of worthlessness, and feelings of impermanence and unreality. Okay? You will believe that you are helpless prey to forces far beyond your own control and far more powerful than you. So anytime that we feel that way, it's because we are listening to the ego. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
And it's not as simple as just, I'm listening to the ego, so I'm going to change it. It's got to, I'm also paying attention that I'm a body, and the body is part of the duality, which is part of the problem.
Because
And it's
that's,
part of a belief system that I've encountered.
yes,
So it's complicated.
what
It's
tells us
not,
that, yeah, what tells us we're a body is not a thought of God. It's an ego thought because the body is a symbol of separation. And God would never tell us that we are separate from Him because we are not the body. God is telling us we are the same as God, spirit, will, mind, that cannot be separate. Okay. So that's what line 6 is saying. Okay. He he has no thoughts, capital T, except the capital S self that is extending. And in this you will be included. Our will is included in the will of God. We do not have a separate will from God. A free will, okay, a truly free will recognizes that its true will is the same as God's will. That's what true freedom is. Okay. The Course talks about an alien will. Okay. An alien will is a belief that our will can be in opposition or separate from the will of God, which is a delusion. Um, yeah. Okay. So the part of our mind that we call our right mind, where the Holy Spirit resides, is a part of the mind that knows God's will and shares it. Um, and so, it's not meaningful to ask if what must be so that we share this will with God. Um, uh, it's not meaningful to question that. Okay, so it's not meaningful to ask if what must be so is must be is so. Okay. So it's not meaningful to question the truth, but it is meaningful to ask why you are unaware of the truth. Okay. And we're unaware of it because we place blocks in front of it. And that's
don't
what the
understand it. Yeah,
well, the ego thought system is a defense against the truth. It
correct.
is a block to the awareness of love's presence, which is there. It's always there. It's never not been there. Okay?
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. Okay. Number 7. I think is that. Oh, it's
It's
my turn.
your turn. Yeah.
Okay. Where would the answer be but in the source, capital S? And where are you but there, where this same answer is? Your identity, capital I, as much as true effect, capital E, of this same source, capital S, as is the answer, must therefore be together and the same. Oh, yes, you know this, and more than this alone. Yet any part of knowledge threatens dissociation as much as all of it. And all of it will come with any part. Here is the part you can accept. What reason points to, you can see because the witnesses on its behalf are clear. Only the totally insane can disregard them, and you have gone past this. Reason is a means that serves the Holy Spirit's purpose in its own right. It is not reinterpreted and redirected from the goal of sin, as are the others. For reason is beyond the ego's range of means. Um, okay, so it's talking about where would the answer be, but in the source. Yes. So God's plan. Let's look at the previous paragraph a little bit. Um, line 5. But it is meaningful to ask why you are unaware of what is so, of the truth. Okay, for this must have an answer if the plan of God for salvation is complete. And it must be complete because its source knows not of incompletion. Okay, so our salvation is already complete. And so there's a place where the Course talks about us looking back at the end of time and and um and seeing that it's what has already passed. That's all we're seeing with perception is the past. That's why the first few lessons are, I see only the past. So we're really already saved and complete. Okay, it's already over and done with. The tiny mad idea arose, and in that instant, God gave the answer, Holy Spirit. And in that instant, the whole thing was over and done with. Okay. But that tiny instant then is all of time, which is a dream. and and it's really looking back on it as if it was still happening because the mind is asleep. It hasn't awakened to see itself uh, looking at the past. It doesn't recognize that it's only looking at the time, that all of that is over and done with. Um, and that it has never left its source. So this is where it's saying, um, where would the answer be but in the source? Okay, so the Holy Spirit that is in our mind is the answer to the question of separation. And where is the answer? Well, it's in the source, capital S, God. So where is our true spiritual essential self? It's still in the source with God. Okay. Okay. And where are you but there? You see where this same answer is. So your identity, capital I, as much as true effect of this same source, as is the answer. We're the same um, as it, our identity is not separate from the Holy Spirit, the answer, which is because it's Christ's mind and must therefore be together and the same. Holy Spirit, Christ, mind, God. The Catholic Church calls it what is it? Trilogy? No, the not trilogy.
Trinity.
The Trinity, Holy Trinity. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Oh, yes, you know this and more than this alone. Okay. Uh, so, uh, okay. So when we remember any part of knowledge, the ego thought system is threatened. Okay. Dissociation is another word for separation. So any part of knowledge threatens separation or dissociation as much as all of it. And all of it will come with any part because it's all the same. Knowledge is all the same. And so here is the part that we can accept. It is reasonable to say that where the answer is, our link to knowledge, okay, is with source. And therefore, that our higher mind is with source. It has not left source. And that's why we are not in time. Okay. We seem to be in time. It's an appearance. It's an image. It's a projection, but it's made up. So, okay. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so we depend on reason to say, yes, that's a reasonable thing to conclude that we are still with source because our eternal nature uh, cannot leave uh, its source, right? Thoughts cannot leave the mind of the maker.
One thing that you said I've heard before is like we're stuck in time and all this stuff that we're dealing with is already over.
Yeah,
And so it doesn't exist. Why
right.
are why, if we're stuck in time, it doesn't exist, why were we sent here? Or weren't we sent here? Or we
We're not,
decide to come here?
no, we're not sent here. It's a dream, okay?
So
And
it's a dream from wherever we came from. It
no,
wasn't a dream here.
okay, okay, it has to do with valuing. We are valuing incorrectly. As long as we value the belief in separation, as long as we think that there's a gain in holding on to that belief, okay, we are deluding ourselves and we are going to project a world of separation and illusion because we value it. We want it. We want to see it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's all that beliefs are. Beliefs are values.
Yeah.
Yeah, we believe
Thank
what
you.
we value. Okay,
Thank
number
you.
8, Larry.
Number 8, faith and perception and belief can be misplaced and serve the greater deceiver's needs as well
Uh-huh.
as truth.
There
That
you
is
go.
really big. That's
That's
really, really big.
that's what we were saying, right?
That's exact, and that's my problem is that my beliefs and what I have faith in and my perception, they
It
don't sort of, yeah,
Yeah, they can be misplaced. We are misplacing value in what is valueless because it's
yeah,
impermanent.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they serve the great deceiver's needs as well as truth, which the deceiver's needs is searching for truth and looking at truth from our beliefs and our perceptions and our faith. And they could all be misperceptions.
Okay, so
Yeah,
these misplaced beliefs, the ego uses to deceive, to keep this, to to maintain the deception or the illusion. But
and
the
maybe even
truth,
forms. Yeah, maybe informs them. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But the truth can also use them. Okay,
yeah,
Holy Spirit can use all, all that the ego makes for healing the mind. Also,
yeah. And
yeah,
that's why I'm doing this now. Okay.
yes.
But reason has no place at all in madness, nor can it be adjusted to fit its end. Faith and belief are strong in madness,
Hmm.
guiding perception towards what the mind has valued.
There you go.
And that's the value you're talking about. But
Yes.
reason enters not at all in this, for the perception would fall away at once. If reason were applied, there is no reason in insanity, for it depends entirely on one reason's absence.
On reason's absence. Yeah.
Absence, yeah. The ego never uses it because it does not realize that it exists. The partiality insane, the partially insane have access to it, and only they have need of it. Knowledge does not depend on it, and madness keeps it out. Yeah, well,
Hmm.
that's
Well,
that makes
reason.
that gives me a whole nother venue to think about my faith and perceptions and beliefs, because that's how I judge my humanness and what is by that. Because I my faith is important, my beliefs are important, my perceptions are what I think as my choices, and so and I don't do it to be misplaced. That this happens to be misplaced, and and it can be deceiving of what is, and it is, and that's why I'm trying to be aware to figure out what it is.
Hmm.
And it's not so easy as yes, it is, turning it on and turning it off. It's a process.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, because, there's the valuing is really faith. Yeah. So
yeah,
we have our faith tied to it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Isn't faith our belief system also?
Well, yes, because that's what beliefs represent. They represent our
Our,
values.
our values, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. 9. Okay. The part of mind where reason lies was dedicated by your will in union with your father's to the undoing of insanity. Here was the Holy Spirit's purpose accepted and accomplished, both at once. Reason is alien to insanity, and those who use it have gained a means by which cannot be applied to sin. Oh, and those who use it have gained a means which cannot be applied to sin. knowledge is far beyond attainment of any kind, but reason can serve to open doors you closed against it. Okay, so remember that the blocks to the awareness of love's presence is what we place that keeps our awareness uh, from truth. And reason is what we use to open those blocks that we use to close against truth.
Reason again is the essence of what we really are, the God mind.
Reason is
I know
sanity.
you're
So,
explaining it.
reason is really almost like non judgment, okay, where the mind does not become invested in their own personal point of view and being right, where reason is just open to the facts and doesn't take a side.
Or try to explain it. It's just what is.
Well, reason can explain things reasonably and tell you, look, I mean, I can tell you with, with my son, I would say, okay, well, that might not be a good idea for you to do, you know. Um, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm fine. I don't have to worry about it." And then, of course, something happens. He gets kicked out of school. You know, because he has his own idea about what. He's not reasonable. He's not being reasonable. Okay, when we are not being reasonable, we are invested in that little tiny I know self, okay, that doesn't know. It just thinks it knows, okay? That's part of that arrogance, you know.
But isn't
Uh,
that the same as you telling your son that that's not good or it's not right? Isn't that the sort of reason that he has the same reason that says it is right and everything's okay? I mean, it's the
no,
same thing, I
no.
think. Different sides
Well,
of the same coin.
no, 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 because what, but the only thing we can really do in terms of being helpful is point to the reasonableness of cause and effect, cause and consequences. Every decision we make, okay, has results and consequences, okay? And before you make the decision, you can already know from past learning, oh, well, okay, I'm taking a chance here. This could happen, this could happen. I'm okay with that. Okay. But people that are when we're not rational, what we do is we block out from consideration everything that will happen. It's almost like a bravado, like, oh no, that's not going to happen to me, or uh uh so in
True.
other words, you close the mind to all the possibilities, and then when it does happen to you, you're like in shock and you can't accept it. You see?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's being unreasonable. Okay. Because decisions are causal. And if you make a decision, you have to be willing to accept any and all of the consequences. And if you're not, okay, you're going to suffer. So it's merely pointing out that we are in control of our decisions and on whether we're going to suffer or not as a result. That's all. And
Yeah.
that's all you can really teach anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
um, okay, number 10. Let's
10.
yeah.
Number 10. You have come very close to this. Faith and belief have shifted, and you have asked the question the ego will never ask. Does not your reason tell you now the question must have come from something that you do not know, but must belong to you? Faith and belief upheld by reason cannot fail to lead to changed perception. And In this change is room made way for vision. Vision extends beyond itself, as does the purpose that it serves and all the means for its accomplishment. Um, my belief and faith is shifting at my senior age, and I do know it comes from something deep inside of me.
Hmm.
It isn't something I read or something. There's something inside of me that says something's happening, or look at this, or something's to be showing. And it's making room for vision. And I'm not sure exactly what vision is, except maybe it's the understanding of who I really am,
Yeah.
or why I'm really here, or
Yeah, it's Holy Spirit.
yeah,
Our
yeah,
link to knowledge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, whew, I've come very close. That's good.
Hmm. Yes. So, faith and belief upheld by reason cannot fail to lead to changed perception, and that's a miracle. That's what the miracle is. It's a shift in our perception,
Yeah.
from false to true perception. Yeah.
That's what you're seeing, Eloisa. A miracle in the shift of my perception and faith and illusions. But it's
Hey,
not happening automatically. It's a process, one step at a time.
well, miracles are
It
normal
could
and
ha- it
every
could happen.
day.
It could happen instantly. Yeah,
Yes,
you're right. You're right.
that's it's saying they're natural. That's what we started with, right?
Correct. They happen all the time, every
They
day,
happen,
everything.
they do, but they're only seen in light,
Correct.
which is true
Yeah.
perception. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perception is a choice and not a fact. Okay. So we have the choice. Do we want to see with love or do we want to see with fear? Do we want to see with the Holy Spirit or with the ego?
Do we want peace or do we want conflict?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
that's, yeah, do we want separation or do we want, oneness and unity? Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew.
Okay.
That's a heavy day for me today. Thank you. I was very relaxed this morning, and all of a sudden, is now I just well, it's hard work when you're actually paying attention and you're evaluating what we're talking about or reading with what is in my head, the God mind or the ego mind. It's hard work. It's not. It's more than
Yeah.
just going along for the ride. You
No,
know.
it does require a commitment to the truth. Yes.
And
It
action and taking action for it, not just being aware of it,
um well, yes, and that's the willingness, Larry, that
willingness,
that
right?
says I am willing to change the way I see things. You know. Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
Thanks, Eloisa.
Yep, thank you. We'll see you
Yeah.
next time.
Peace.
Peace.